Hello, welcome to Luigi's Gaming Lounge. This is Luigi Mario, and we are on episode 32 today. And I'm joined by TeRRoRz, aka
Sam. Hello.
So today, Sam, it's me and you, and I thought, seems as though me and you are the main PC gamers out of the whole LGL clan, we would do a PC special, so to speak. Because I really only the last probably year I've really got into my PC gaming. I dabbled in it a little bit previously, but obviously with you being, a big PC gamer, you led me to the dark side. So I thought it only makes sense to do that now that it's an intimate one of me and you today. So, speaking on PCs, let's just begin by talking about the last 12 months. We briefly spoke about this just before the podcast in regards to how difficult it's been to get hold of certain components for your PC, especially graphics cards. As we said on a previous episode, I think I literally got in there with my PC just before everything went to shit, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, basically, obviously we had, it's been like a worldwide thing with COVID-19, so that's obviously where it sort of started and stemmed from, and it basically just got worse and worse because obviously everything stopped, didn't it? So they weren't producing anything, and there was a shortage on a lot of stuff, and everything that was on the shelf, so to speak, that was readily available just got taken and just got sold. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously everyone dived in. Some people capitalized on it. I think some people just bought multiple different bits and pieces to sell on. Do you know what I mean? Because it didn't take long before graphics cards doubled in price on the second-hand market. Even nearly triple. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was insane. So, if you were looking to get yourself a new GPU, basically you weren't getting one brand new, and anything that was coming out was just getting sold in seconds, and then it was a case of, I'll go and get a second-hand one. But the prices were just even now they're still pretty high, to be fair.
Yeah, they've not sort of recovered back down to what we would consider normal, have they yet?
No, it was graphics cards seemed to definitely increase the most out of everything. Some of the other stuff you could get relatively easily. There were some motherboards and stuff that you struggled to get hold of, but overall it wasn't too bad. I'll be honest with you, I didn't look at things like power supplies. I'd imagine there possibly could have been a shortage on them, but I wasn't looking. I wasn't in the market for that, so I didn't really check it out. But GPUs being the main thing, really.
Well, I think as well with the GPUs, you had a lot of people buying them for crypto mining as well. So obviously, I mean,
although that sort of did come in a little bit before it all sort of.
That did.
Like,
but
a couple of years before, I think, like 2017 or something like that, around then.
It did, but it wasn't as much of as an issue because obviously, like you say, everything was still in production and we were still getting that sort of that product.
Although we did get that price increase from when a lot of people in crypto were buying all those up, because the reason I know that is because I actually bought a 970 for brand new for like got it for like 200 quid or something, and then within less than a year I sold it second hand for 240 quid. But that was like a whole, and that's unheard of. Do you know what I mean? Like for any any PC stuff, really. And that was kind of like where it was like, whoa, okay. No, it wasn't a huge jump, but it was a reflection on the people in the crypto market just like taking everything. And then obviously we saw a bit of a correction in it, and we were okay for probably 12 months, and then obviously COVID hit and it all just went just went back.
Yeah,
It just went insane. Basically, the prices just went crazy.
I think the thing is, I think that with obviously COVID and the lockdowns and so on, I think there's too many things to sort of just blame one thing, if that makes sense. What I mean is, for example, you had people all of a sudden who had been laid off work, or what was it called? Sorry, when furloughed, yeah. So yeah, you had people who were furloughed, and
that was in this country. I don't know what they were calling it in other countries.
Well, yeah, in this country. So yeah, where you'd get X amount of your pay, but your sort of job position would still be open, and you get to stay at home. So I think a lot of people who were gamers may have got back into it, or looking to build a PC now that they had the time on their hands. So what I'm saying is, that also comes into, but there's so many different factors, like people suddenly had time now that they could actually play games.
And people who weren't overly into gaming or whatever would have probably found themselves getting involved with it, just because when you've got nothing else to really do other than sit at home,
you find entertainment, don't you? And that's
and that is, it's a big way to you can still socialise, to a degree, because obviously you can chat to your friends and what have you. So it was a way of socialising in a time where you couldn't go out and socialise. So
yeah, definitely. I think it definitely helped.
So the demand increases, which obviously then supply and demand, isn't it? But there was like minimal supply, maximum demand. So it was just like one extreme to the other.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think from there we'll talk about games for the moment, because as we all know, PC do get exclusives and so on, but for me, the one big thing I have enjoyed over the last 12 months owning a PC is being able to mod your games. So for me, it's been a lot of fun. Like, for example, one of the big ones that everyone knows, GTA 5, for example. I, applied all different mods, even visual mods, because, I mean, the game itself, originally, I think it came out 2013, didn't it? I know it didn't come to PC straight away. But obviously, there's been visual mods, and you can change your cars so that they're like real life cars, and just all sorts of craziness, and you don't get that freedom to do that on a console.
No, it's actually it's a big scene, big scene of it, really, like in terms of like, how many people get involved with that, doing mods and all that thing, especially with the series and all sorts of different games, really. But a lot of people will do. They turn them into role-playing games, or all sorts of different things. So yeah, I mean, it is. That is one of the perks of having a PC, and I suppose in some ways, I mean, it's not completely down to that, but then that's another added premium, isn't it, for why PC gamers are paying more than your average console.
Yeah, and I think. There's always that thing of, consoles versus PC, this, that, the other. But in all honesty, you can't really put them in the same category. And I say that because, I mean, myself sort of owning consoles and now a PC as well as, I think if you're somebody who's not bothered about tinkering and messing around with games and so on, and your money's limited, you just want to pick up a pad and sit and lounge on your sofa and chill, then a console's for you. I think people who may be a bit more technical minded, who enjoy delving into the files of games and this, that, the other, and all being well, you have the money, because as me and Sam, it costs a pretty penny compared to a console. To have a half decent PC, and as I said, you just can't put them in the same category.
I think bang for the buck is you can't really argue the fact that if you're looking from it depends on how you look at it, you say, like, how you're looking at it from a graphical, like, hardware point of view. So you can't compare the PC and the Xbox with the PlayStation, because you do get way more for your money on your PlayStation or your Xbox when it comes to that side of it. But like as an overall, like and to be fair, consoles are starting to, there are some more freedoms with consoles now.
Yeah.
I mean, you can plug in your mouse and your keyboard. You can, you know what I mean? Like you can cross play. You can now come over to, you can join Discords or whatever. I believe you can anyway. It's becoming a lot easier to sort of socialize and play with PC players. But the fact that you're only spending say £500, which is still a reasonable amount of money or whatever, but four £500, you're getting all of that for that much money. Whereas, to be honest with you, to get the equivalent in terms of graphical performance, power, and all the rest of it, you're looking at 1,300 plus minimum.
Yeah,
like,
minimum. I mean,
and I'd say even that is probably like, it's probably more than that, really. Like,
it's like I'll give an example here. Now, I have the Xbox Series S, which is the digital only next gen Xbox. Now, for example, that costs £250 brand new, right? Now, Sam, me and you know, the graphics card alone is going to cost you double, triple, quadruple what that system alone. Now, I'll compare this because I have obviously Xbox Game Pass and I have installed Forza Horizon 5 on the Xbox, and I've also installed it on my PC. Now, I started playing it on Xbox and then installed on PC as well, because obviously your game save, is the same, like it, with it being Microsoft and whatnot. It just carries on from where you was, which is awesome. Now on the Xbox, it's nice, it looks good. I sat and played it on PC once I installed it, and I was like, wow, this is like popping. Like the visuals are just amazing. And again, with PC you can tweak the visuals, because everyone has different spec computers and so on. And then going back to the Xbox, trying it again, I could easily tell a difference. However, like I say, Joe Bloggs, who comes home from work and wants an hour to sit down on their computer and play Forza, they're not going to care, they're not going to know. I only know and can see the difference because I own this PC that I own. Is it enough to bother me? No, I still sometimes just pick up the pad when I want a quick half hour on Forza and sit on the Xbox. It doesn't bother me. However, if I know I've got an extended length of time to play, I will purposely play on my PC because, like I said, the visuals are that nice. They just, all I can say is they're just popping out the screen,
Yeah.
And again, like I said, Joey Bloggs down the street probably doesn't care about that and just wants, the ease of being able to press a button, put the game on, done. But people who are a bit more inquisitive with technology and like tinkering, like I said, I think, that's the joy for me. I think I spend just as much, if not more time, messing around with things on the PC than I do playing games.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm well, we know as we're quite similar when it comes to that sort of thing. Yeah, I kind of spend all the time trying to get something to work, and then when I finally do get it to work, I play it for hardly any time at all, and then I'm like, I almost look for problems.
It's like on to the next one.
Yeah, with that, and it's almost looking for a problem or trying to create my own illusion of a problem in my head to solve, which they are problems, but they are things that you do need to try and work out. They're not necessarily what I call pointless, but I just enjoy doing it.
Yeah, I think it's just knowing that you are able to do it,
Yeah.
And it's a bit like, everyone, at the end of the day, everyone has their hobbies, and I would class this as a hobby, the tinkering with stuff on the PC, because at the end of the day, PC in general and technology in general is a big thing these days. So knowing that you're capable of doing something that somebody else wouldn't be able to do. Like I said, Joe Bloggs down the road wouldn't be able to do that. I think there's something nice about that. You know, it makes you do. To me, it makes you feel good that I'm able to do something that somebody else can't. If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
I know what you mean. You mean it in a good sense of
yeah.
You feel you set, it's like a challenge that you set yourself personally. You feel like, you know, if I can get over that or I can do that, then you get a sense of achievement from doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and when you say, "Oh, I like doing something that somebody else can't," what you mean is if somebody comes to you with that problem, you can say, "Look, I know how to do that. Like, let me help you, or let me do that." Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, that's how I mean it. Like,
yeah,
definitely.
I knew that's how you meant it. I thought people listening would be like, "Oh, what an arse!" Like,
no.
I'm not doing something you can't. Like,
no, that's what I mean. You know, it makes you sort of. I suppose it makes you feel useful. You know, when people do have those issues. You know, at the end of the day, you know, I'm not a tradesman or anything like that. I can do basic stuff, but you know, if somebody comes to me with an IT issue or technical issue, I could more than likely help them out and sort it for them. You know,
and that's the freedom that you get with PC. Again, go back to PC over console and modding and all that kind of stuff. You know, that's where, you know, for you, I always knew that PC was going to be good for yourself. Like, I knew you'd enjoy it more, and I used to tell you countlessly, like, just trust me, get a PC, you won't go back. And let's be honest, you kind of do go back a bit, but I do believe that you are now pretty much converted.
Oh yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I still love playing on the Xbox. I mean, I bought the Xbox after I bought the PC, but my sort of thinking with it is as well that it's just like I said, you know, those times when I just want a nice chilled session where I'm just lounged back and relaxed, versus the more serious gaming on PC, for example. But I've sort of bridged that gap because I can now, you know, I've now also got my PC hooked up to my main TV as well, so that, you know, if I want to just turn my Xbox controller on and connect it to the PC wirelessly, I can play games from PC on the big screen and just lounge on the sofa. So, yeah, I mean, it's nice to have the choice. I think it is nice to have the choice between the two, but PC's always been on my radar, Sam. Even before, you know, me and you sort of rekindled our friendship and we met in Audi. You know, it's always been something where, like, for example, PC Specialist. Like, I was looking at PC Specialist website way before, obviously, me and you bumped back into each other, and I was like, oh my god, like, I was always looking at their finance options, like, oh, it's a bit like, you know, paying a phone contract. Oh, yeah, you know, but I just never took the plunge, sort of thing.
To be honest, though, the deal you got, I think we mentioned it in the last podcast or one.
Possibly.
Yeah, or one or two ago. The deal you got was ridiculously good. So I think, looking back now, do you know what I mean? Like, to get what you've pretty much got now, you're looking at a couple of grand. So, you know, you probably think, well, do I do that now? Don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Whereas...
Yeah,
it was the best time. You know, if anyone could pick a good time or the best time to buy decent PC, I think you definitely got it perfect.
That was timing wise. That was like nail on the head, weren't it? Just the right moment.
It literally was. So you know, and I know you've not really you've definitely not had any regrets on it because you use it every day and you get more than your money's worth out of it. And
but again, you know, as you said, going back to like the sort of comparing sort of things between console and PC, you know, another reason why PC costs so much more is, you know, everything to do with the podcast, for example, that's all done through my PC, you know, edited all through my PC as well. And, you know, the streaming, yes, you can stream from consoles now, even with camera, but you're extremely limited in comparison to running the stream through your PC. Again, running the stream through your PC, you've got so many more options and customizations, things you can do. So I think to wrap that bit up there, I think if you have the money and you enjoy messing around, go PC. If not, if you just want to chill and play games here and there, and not have to stress about doing things, then go for console. But
I agree.
I mean, you can yourself, like I said, you're a big PC gamer, but you still enjoy console. For example, the Switch. You love your Switch, don't you? I know you're a big.
Yeah, I do. I play that.
Nintendo
I play that probably. I probably play that now more than the PC. I go through stages. I sometimes will play the PC for months on end, and then I end up going back to the Switch for a bit. But to be honest with you, there's not really been any games for me on the PC that I wanted to play. I do like my FPSs, but I mean, I played the Battlefield beta. Just wasn't that impressed. It's just kind of samey stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure it'd be a pretty cool game overall, but I'm more sort of getting into the first sort of more chilled stuff now. Like I used to be obviously really competitive and used to play games and all that, but I'll be honest with you, I just ain't got the patience or the energy anymore. Like I just kind of and I don't have the time either. So it's more a case of just, when I've got time, I'll pick up a game and just chill and play. But, I still will always be PC. And I am looking at upgrading because there are some new components that have, sort of new stuff, the new Intel chipset, the new supporting motherboards and DDR5 RAM, and like super fast NVMe, which I think kind of been out for a little while anyway, but all those kind of things because at the minute I am still rocking some sort of old hardware. I've got like a 1070 and my CPU motherboard that's quite old now, but because I've not been playing it as much, I can't justify the spend on upgrading it because I'm not putting the hours in. So, but yeah, I certainly will upgrade at some point. Maybe next year. We'll see. I'd rather spend more to begin with and get the sort of top end stuff and keep that for, say, look after it and keep it for 5 years, whatever it might be. Might have to do a GPU change in that 5 years, but overall, if you do it right and you don't, if you've got the money or you don't mind spending the money, then you can cover yourself for a number of years and play, not have to worry. Do you know what I mean? I can play what I want comfortably. I know it's going to run super fast, and to be honest, even now, this is what I've got now. It still boots up relatively quick. I don't ever really get any issues. I have noticed performance issues on games, so I've had to turn graphics down to sort of mid-low on some of these new games. But when I'm playing on FPSs, mate, comparatively, I turn most of that off anyway because, do you know what I mean? I don't want all that. I don't want all that in my way when I'm playing online. But obviously for single player stuff and other sort of games, MMOs or whatever, then I do like to turn it up to make it look as pretty as it can be. But I mean, I know what build you've got, and I know that you're still good for a couple of years, easy. And then, but I do think that maybe if you do start to notice a performance issue, I don't think your CPU will be fine. CPUs these days are, they get whether they're gaming CPUs or not, they're capable of handling a lot more than what. That's one thing in the market that gaming isn't causing issues for is CPU power. They're not drawing too much power. The CPUs that can comfortably deal with it all. It's the GPUs that have sort of been the issue, really. So, maybe in a couple of years, but by then, I mean, I would probably wait at least 2 generations before you upgrade. So at the minute you've got the 3070. Remember, we're still on that generation. So you're talking about grading in a year. We're not even that generation's not even out yet. The next gen. You've literally got the all right, you've got a 360 below yours, but fundamentally you've got the sort of top end sort of you've got the top end generation of GPU at the moment.
Yeah.
So going to the 4000 series, not a big jump. Now there was quite a big jump between the 2000 and 3000, and the reason for that is because the RTX technology came out on the 2000 series, and then I always say this, for example with the DDR5 RAM that's just come out or whatever, I won't be buying that iteration of RAM because they always make it so much better that second time in. And they do it with GPUs when they bring out some new tech on a GPU. Every time they do it, and they for example the 2000 series from NVIDIA or whatever. RTX came out, don't get me wrong, yeah, great, ray tracing, all that kind of stuff. The jump, the performance jump between that and 3000 series, like, no one even thought that was going to be remotely possibly close based on the performance jump from the previous one, because obviously you go from like just standard, you know, well, I say standard, but you know what I mean, like 1080p, 1080, 10,000 series, or 1000 series, whatever you want to call it. You go from that to the 2000 series. There was quite a big jump, and obviously then it also added on the RTX. But then the jump between that and the 3000 series was ridiculous. It was like your 37 it was like equivalent to like a 2080 Ti, or even faster than that. Like, it's something crazy like that. Yeah. So for you to think, oh, I'm going to go and get, you know, in a year's time, get another GPU, that is a waste of money, mate. Like, that is actually a waste of money.
That's why I always run things past you, Sam, because I mean, when it comes to PC, obviously you've been in the PC world a lot longer than me, and a lot deeper than me as well. So
you want to go minimum 2 generations in front, and that also then depends on if there's new technology that's brought in within that sort of 2 generation gap.
Yeah.
But I would hold out probably. If we're not seeing anything too drastically improve, like, you know, on performance wise, I'd probably even wait three generations potentially. Do you know what I mean? Like, but
I'll probably just see how the old girl holds out the GPU.
I would, mate. I would just see what you got. I mean, you'd probably be better off maybe upgrading your motherboard, or at some point, or and then maybe some cooling or something, getting a better cooling system.
To be honest, I think the motherboard's something I would like to change, because for some reason
that was the only thing that was on your build that wasn't like premium or up there. But again, you got the lot for 1,300 quid, so you can't complain. It does what it needs to do. But I would say that's probably the only thing. That'd be the thing I would upgrade on your system if I had to choose.
Yeah. I think you're right.
And probably water cooling as well. But
yeah,
I mean, water cooling the air coolers are okay, really. Anyway, I mean, we were measuring temperatures, weren't we, not so long ago, and it was fine. It's just that although the temperatures are, and I'm sure it does keep a bit cooler, I do believe that especially in the hotter months, summer months, I do think you do get an advantage over your water cooling as opposed to your air cooling. But you know, that's it's probably neither here nor there these days. I'm talking like, you know, going back a few years, like air cooling compared to water cooling at one point, like the air coolers, they've got a lot better. Like they were obviously always originally air coolers anyway, but then it's like water cooling came on, and that took a couple of years to get like up and running to where it needed, you know, for it to be decent. And then it's just that I think in like the summer months, depending on how the conditions you keep your computer in, and the room that you keep it in or whatever, and how clean you keep it, which is key. If you make sure you keep it clean, dust free as much as you can, it's going to last a lot longer, and it's going to keep a lot cooler. So
yeah, definitely. Good advice, Sam. Good advice. So yeah, anybody listening who is thinking about getting into PC gaming, anything like that, Sam's the man. So listen to his advice. Also, just to sort of finish up on the podcast, I just want to discuss just games in general when it comes to PC gaming. Because for me, the one thing, and I'm sure there's many people out there who are console gamers who look into PC gaming, you know, go on Steam or whatever on their crappy laptop that like I used to, that couldn't even run Counter-Strike properly probably, you know, and they look at games. For example, I haven't played it yet, but the game Scum, really, yeah, things like that. The game Scum, at the time,
there's a lot of strategy games that are, you know, unbelievably good. I mean, I'm not into strategy games, but like your StarCraft 2, Age of Empires, people are into that. Like, you know, you're not getting that same level, even remotely close on a console when it comes to strategy games than you are on a PC. And MMOs as well, like World of Warcraft. You know, there's a new one called New World. Like, they've got better on console over the years. Like,
definitely.
They're not. You can't compare them to PC. So, like, if you're a big MMO player or you want to, you know, get involved in that, then PC, you just can't touch them. Like, And then even some FPS games. I mean, CS:GO being a huge game, one of the biggest, if not the biggest FPS in the world. Like when it comes to just whether it be professional side or casual side, it's got a huge following.
It's extremely competitive, isn't it?
Yeah, and there has been iterations on console, but they're just awful. Like they're just absolutely awful. And yeah, it's just there are certain sort of games that you just can't compare.
Another big one. Sorry to interrupt you a little bit there, but another big one, for example, I've not played it myself, but when it initially come out, loads of people were playing it. Valheim. Do you remember?
Yeah, heard of that. Never played it.
Yeah, same here.
Was that an MMO in like sort of olden times?
I think it was. If I'm not wrong, I'm pretty sure it was something.
It's a survival game.
I think so. I want to say it was set around the time of the Vikings. I could be wrong.
Yeah. I think I know which one you mean. I never played it. I did hear some good things about it when it came out, and there was a few videos and a few reviews go around saying it was pretty good. But I haven't really heard much of it since its release, really. So I'm not too sure.
Well, because that's the other thing. Like when I browse through Steam, and obviously there's other places as well. Steam's obviously the largest, PC store, online PC store as such, digital store. Looking at games, and there's so many games on Steam that aren't from these like big AAA developers that start off on PC. For example, DayZ. That started off as, I think it even wasn't it originally H1Z1 or something, and then I don't know exactly what happened.
I think that's a different game.
No, I think it is, but I'm sure there's some connection. I was reading about it a while back, and I'm pretty certain there's some sort of connection. Whether it was somebody who was working on it,
there might. Yeah,
but yeah, regardless, I mean, what I'm trying to say is a lot of popular games come to PC first from small developers. Some have even been like 1 or 2 man teams, and I think that's what I love. I love looking through Steam and finding these games that you've never heard of before, and thinking to yourself, wow, this actually looks really cool, and it's only available on PC. It gives you quite a rush, I feel, anyway, especially somebody who's come over from console. Now all of a sudden I've got access, to all these games that I've never been able to try before. It's so cool.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate.
But yeah, so if anybody would like to contact ourselves at Luigi's Gaming Lounge, you can do so by emailing luigisgaminglounge@gmail.com. That's luigisgaminglounge@gmail.com. If you want to just come by and say hello, got any questions for us, feel free. Just say that again. It is luigisgaminglounge@gmail.com. Also, I just wanted to let people know the holiday season is obviously coming up, the big Christmas time. Now, we are going to take a little bit of a break. The last recording we'll be doing on the 16th of December, so we'll release the podcast on the 17th, and then we will be back recording our first podcast of the new year on the 6th. So the podcast will be back on the 7th. So 17th to the 7th, and just a bit of pre-warning there, guys, because it's always nice to be in the loop. So I think we'll wrap that up there. That's episode 32. Thank you very much, Sam, for joining me. I've been enjoying discussing PC gaming and just PC in general.
Yeah, me too, mate. Yeah, so, it's been good.
Yeah, it's been different to the usual gaming chat, but like I say, it's always fun discussing PC. Thank you guys for listening, and make sure to tune in for episode 33. See you later, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See you guys. Bye.